Hi all, welcome back to Labyrinth, playing the extended campaign. So this is part 3. Right, I have just came straight back after part 2. So we'll see if we can get this one done as well, and that might be about it. So we've got 4 cards left, nothing great. We did get Afghanistan to a fair state, a fair governance, so and an aid marker in there as well, so that might help with things. But now we can't do a war of ideas until we whittle down some of these cells. In fact, we need to get rid of 4 of the cells, 4 of the 5 cells. So I get the feeling one of them at least might be moving away into here though, but we will see. Right, so it's over to the jihadist player. This is a lapsing event, oil price spike, which just adds +1 to resources of oil producing countries, but it's not going to affect the game. It just allowed me to go and bring a card back. Right, here we go. The bot plays Abu Sayyaf. Yeah, I don't think that's a good card actually. So it's a jihadist event. So is it playable? It's a 2 ops. Jihadists align with Moro separatists. Place a cell in the Philippines. Yeah, I think that's playable. While Abu Sayyaf in effect, US may deploy there, and -1 prestige for each plot placed unless troops outnumber cells. Blocked by Moro talks. Okay. US may deploy there. Where is it? Philippines. Okay, I was wondering at first why could we not deploy there before anyway, but it's a non-Muslim country, and pretty sure you can only go to Muslim countries, can't you? It's an ally Muslim country or the troops track. Okay. Okay, well, it's playable. It's playable. So card 57. Abu Sayyaf, 2002. US designation of this Filipino Islamist group as terrorist and suspicions of ties to Jemaah Islamiyah. Yeah, we heard that one before as well. And thus Al-Qaeda contributed to US military involvement in the separatist struggle for the southern Philippine Islands. In light of the long history between the 2 countries, the event penalised any US failure to commit to military protection of the Philippines' territorial integrity. Okay. Right, okay, so we're playing this event. Place to sell in the Philippines. Right, okay. So, Philippines is down here. I get a sell. I've still got 5 on the track. So, place a sell in the Philippines, and it's going to test its posture as well, isn't it? Okay, so we need to test Philippines posture. We've got 1 lone brave in space because we're at World Hard, remember, but we'd sort of like to see this as a hard result. But posture test, well, I suppose I haven't showed this in this video anyway. So set or reset a non-Muslim country's posture. You do it when there's a test asked for, there's a war of ideas, there's an unblocked plot, or by event. Well, I mean, it is by an event, but it's actually because we're putting a cell in there. But yeah, but it's got to be tested. If there's a cell in there, it's untested. So it's a 1. You can see it's a 1 to 4. It'll be soft. A 5 or 6. It'll be hard. So yeah. Let's see. I think maybe prefer it to be hard. Just now. Here we go. And we just miss out. So it is soft. And then that obviously is going to affect US global war on terror relations by reducing that down to 0. So the world's neither hard nor soft, but as long as it's in the 0, we're still okay. But the next one that goes like that is a different story. Right, and then it carries on while Abu Sayyaf is in effect, right, and there's a marker for this. Where are you? I can't. Oh, it's Moral Talks blocks it. That's it. It's on the other side. So Abu Sayyaf. So that's going to go in the box. You can see the other side of it. Moral Talks is. It would block it. So this goes in this little box here. And then just to continue reading. While Abu Sayyaf in effect, US may deploy there. And -1 prestige for each plot placed unless troops outnumber cells. Blocked by Moral Talks. So, I mean, right now there's a cell there, so we need to put 2 troops in there to protect us against prestige hits. Yeah, we could probably do with blocking that if we could get hold of that card, but it just could be random if we get it or not. I suppose what you've got to think of, what's the likelihood at the moment of a plot being placed? Yeah, I suppose this is one of these events. Now, I want to say that on the old flowcharts, or is there mention of this? Oh, hang on a second. Maybe I should double check. I want to say this was an event that was mentioned in the old flowchart, that if that was in play, I want to have a little glance at that. I know we're not playing with the old block, but just humour me. That's for plotting. I feel like this was an event that was mentioned anyway. Let's plot. And see Abu Sayyaf and cells greater than or equal to troops in Philippines. So it's asking the question there. Does it ask that question in the plot priorities then? Surely it must do. Well, plot up here, is Abu Sayyaf mentioned up here? No. No, it's not. I'm wondering about the event table though. I haven't. That's what I'm just thinking about there. I never looked at the event table, but I get the feeling. What card number is it? 57. I don't think it'll be here. No, it's not here. It's not here. So yeah, just wondering the fact that the old bot took into consideration if that event was in play, and the new bot doesn't seem to. Unless I'm missing something. I guess I suppose what I'm saying is you would think that the bot would suddenly focus on that. Right, because right now if it plots in the Philippines, we take a prestige hit. I just need to put a plot marker in there and we take a prestige hit. Because unless I put 2 troops in there. But it doesn't look like there's anything to sort of guide it that way. Now, would it have been guided to do a plot with the old bot though? Thing is, with the old bot, if it was a playable US event, right, it actually went and plotted. But this bot doesn't do that. I think the newer bot is better because it was like an awful lot of plotting. But yeah, I don't know. Right, okay. I don't know if anybody knows if that I'm missing something there regarding that. Because I mean, right now, I suppose I'm starting to think. Right, how urgent is it for me to start putting some troops in here? What's going to take them to plot? And we've already looked at it's quite. This is where you can plot. This would mean that funding's moderate before you get there. I mean, funding's not moderate, and if it didn't go into that bit, it could come along here. And if there was a cell in a non-Muslim country, which, well, there is, the Philippines. So there we go. That means a reason to go there. But I'm pretty sure the plot will probably go up there in the Muslim country. So when we come down here, plot, funding tight, no. Poor with troops and active cells. Well, actually, Afghanistan satisfies that right now. So that's where it would plot. It wouldn't consider across here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, it's the way it is. It's just it looked like the older bot maybe took more of that into its thinking. Maybe not. Maybe it wasn't as good though. Maybe when it done it. Yeah, I'm not judging things here. I'm just wondering. I suppose if you were across the table for me right now, playing the jihadist player, wouldn't you be considered plotting in the Philippines? I don't know. Maybe there's more important things. Maybe these are more important than that. Hitting my prestige for one by putting a plot in there, but you put the plot in and then the plot's got to be dealt with or it resolves. So it does seem quite a good thing to do. But I can't see anything that's going to change things up there and say, well, let's get plotting in the Philippines or let's look at plot. You know, none of this is going to happen. And in fact, not until, I mean, the only two plot boxes are there and there, is that right? So they're not going to do anything until my funding's moderate. As in plot-wise. Yeah. And there's no other sort of areas that the plot has to come through funding moderate, doesn't it? And either go from there to there, which is probably an unlikely condition, but no, it's not. Prestige greater than one, an active cell with troops. So in actual fact, Afghanistan satisfies that right now. Prestige is greater than one, and there's an active cell there with troops. So that's a yes. It would plot, and then yeah, did we not already say it would plot with poor with troops and active cells? Ah, yes, I'll tell you why. Because when there's a plot put in beside troops, that gives us a prestige hit as well. So okay, fair enough. So it's considering that it's wanting to target a plot's wanting to go where there's troops. Yeah, and an active cell to be able to do it. And if there's not an active cell, then it would maybe activate a cell to do it. That might carry on and whatever. Yeah, okay. Right, okay, Grant, just... well, I don't know. I suppose I don't know what priority I put on that. Do I put a high sort of panic and worry on that, or... I'm not sure. There looks like there's plenty of other things to do up here, so... So, Abu Sayyaf's been played, place a cell, and... yeah, the counter's there, the marker's there, US may deploy there, and -1 prestige for each plot placed unless troops outnumber cells. So, yeah. Right, that was our first card play. It was a jihadist card, so they don't get any ops in reserves. Right, let's get our second card play. Mossad and Shin Bet. It's a US card. So, no event. Just go with the flow chart. It's starting to move along a bit now that I'm starting to worry that I'm not getting everything right, but okay. Is it a playable non-US event? No. Is a major jihad success poor? Possible. Not quite. Central Asia is one cell short of that. And that is that, though. So there's a no to that. Is funded tight? No. Is there a cell in good or fair Muslim? There is. There's 5 cells in the fair Afghanistan. And that's it. Remember, the Philippines is in a non-Muslim country. Yeah, so a cell in good or fair Muslim. So even though it's fair, it's non-Muslim Philippines. So Afghanistan's a yes to that question. So cell in good or fair Muslim. Yeah, so it's going to do a minor jihad. And it can do a minor jihad there. Whereas our previous game, there was an event that stopped that and caused a lot of trouble and whatever. So, minor jihad in Afghanistan. Well, let's just double check that it can do it. You can see it's got 5 cells, one's active, we've got 6 troops. It's fair. It's a regime change. So a jihad, worsen governance, remove aid. Target Muslim countries, not Iran, containing cells and not under Islamist rule. Yeah. So for each row in a target country, 1 cell then must go or be active, some minor jihad. Each success worsens governance 1 level towards poor and removes 1 aid. And we've got aid there as well. Do not worsen Islamist rule. This card's a 2 ops card. And each failure removes the cell at the funding track. Do not place a cadre. Okay, so there's 1 cell already active. It's got 2 ops, so we're going to activate another cell and do 2 dice rolls, and we need a 2 or less. Yeah. Right, just think about it first, Grant. Yeah, okay, I'm feeling okay about it. I think that's right. So minor jihad with 2 dice. 2 dice and 2 or better. Right, so we need to activate 1 more cell though. So we've got 2 active cells here that are trying the jihad. 2 cells, 2 ops, 2 dice, a 2 or less. That's not what we were hoping for, right? But anyway, here we go. 6 and a 4, I like it. So 2 failures. So these 2 active cells go back to the track. That's pretty good for us. So, I mean, although it was looking a bit bad, because we also kept our, because we would have lost that aid marker. Well, we would have lost the aid marker and it would have been back to poor as well. So, yeah, jihad's not nice. Okay, that's the second card, wasn't it? So it was a 2 ops US card, so they used all their ops, not getting reserves or anything like that, none of that happening. Right, so that's the 2 cards played now. 1 of these, this was not played for the event. This was played for the event, we've marked it, and it's getting removed. So that will go up the back as well, there. And the other card just gets discarded. Right, so they've only got 1 card left now. And we've still got 4, but 2 of them aren't very nice. Right, so back to us. Okay, so fortunately Afghanistan stayed fair, so it does mean that these cards, I mean, I can't see myself, I'm not going to be able to avoid one of these getting played. That's in Indonesia. Yeah, it's not good either, but it's nothing I can do. I mean, I think this one's worse because it only allows us a 1 disrupt. Mind you, you're only going to get you only get 2 disrupts if they're if you've got troops there as well. But yeah, but even still. Okay, well. Yeah, I'm probably gonna play this for the 2 ops and take the hit on Indonesia, I think. But we've got these two cards we can play. So we could... yeah, this event's playable for us. So we could knock the funding down by 2, but it keeps it in... It still keeps it in ample. It doesn't knock it to moderate, but I've already said if we put it to moderate, then there's a risk of plots going off, isn't there? So, yeah. So there's maybe a downside to that. However, it's a 2-ops card. I could just use it to maybe try to disrupt Afghanistan, because I think that's where we should be concentrating. This set Turkey to fair ally. I guess it's good. It's good, but do I not maybe just want the 2-ops again? So I could just go 2-ops, disrupt in Afghanistan. Now, so first disrupt turns 2 of them active. And by the way, yeah, I think I was, and whether I made this mistake or not, even activating cells with troops there, I'm sure still gives you the prestige. Am I right there? Or am I talking rubbish? It doesn't really tell you in there. I need the rules for it. Disrupt 7.4. 7.4. Does it not tell you in that? Yeah, it does. It does, Grant. I don't know why I thought I never told us on that. So disrupt. It affects 1 cell. However, if the target country's posture is hard, it affects 2 cells. If 2 plus troops, it affects 2 cells and add 1 prestige. So affected cells go active, or already active are removed. If no cells, remove cadre. If last cell removed, place cadre. All these things will give you the prestige if the 2 plus troops are there. And let's just double check that. If a disrupt operation occurs in a country with at least 2 troops, raise prestige, even if only shifted cells to active, or remove the cadre. Right. So even if it just shifts cells to active, it still gives me the prestige. So and then we could activate them the first disrupt, take them out the second disrupt. Then there's only 1 cell left there, and we've got 6 troops, 5 more troops and cells. So maybe for our last shot of the turn, we could use a bad card to have a go at going for good. Afghanistan, War of Ideas for good. Yeah, let's do that then. I don't know, maybe some of you might think that knocking their funding down by -2 might be a better idea, I don't know. I just feel like I've got 3 2-ops cards. I can play 2 of them now to then give us the option to do a War of Ideas on the last card play. Yeah, let's just do it. Let's just do that. Right, so I'm playing this for 2-ops. Not playing it for the event. And I'm going to disrupt in Afghanistan. It needs to be an ally or a country with at least 2 troops. Or non-Muslim, but it's an ally and it's got troops. And because it's got troops, it affects 2 cells. Yeah, and the cost of it's 2-ops because it's fair. So I'm going to turn both these cells active for that disrupt. Just going to leave them there because they're not going to be there that long. And then because we had 2 troops, we're going to gain 1 prestige. Right, that's my first card play, and then for my second card play, I'm going to do exactly the same again. Well, not exactly the same. I'm going to do this again for disrupt in Afghanistan. And because it's not exactly the same, I'm going to target the 2 active cells, remove them back to the track. And again, because it was +2 troops, or 2 plus troops, that's going to go up to 9. Get another prestige. Okay, that's my 2 card plays, none of which were played for event, and you're getting a little bit too quick, Grant, for me to start panicking a bit. Well, I think that was straightforward. I think so. Right, so the last 2 cards I've got are bad, though, so there's nothing I can really do about it, though, unfortunately. Right, so, well, we do go back to the bot. They've got 1 card left. So we can end this turn out, I think. Right, let's do it. Right, so their last card. Just got the 1. Patriot Act. So all the US, they seem to have all the US cards in their hand. A 3 ops card. That's just not good. Right, there's no point looking at the event. I'm not playing it. Right, so let's go through what they're going to do. Playable non-use event, no. Major jihad success at poor possible. Again, Central Asia is just 1 cell short. The good thing here is it's not going to move that one out, is it? Because this is the last cell. You know what it is? It's going to do a minor jihad attempt again, isn't it? So this is a no. It's funding tight, no. Is there a cell in good or fair Muslim? Yes, there is. Right, now this is a 3 ops card. So yes, there is minor jihad. That's the operation they want to do with the 3 ops. So this is my take on it. They're going to do minor jihad. Where can they do it? Afghanistan. That's the only place they can do it. Okay? So, and there's only 1 cell. So they can only use 1 ops. So I'm going to put a dice with 2 on it because they're going to have left 2 ops behind. And this cell's going to go active. And they get to roll 1 dice. 2 or less is going to turn Afghanistan to poor. I'm hoping that's not going to happen. Yeah, because they can't minor jihad anywhere else. So once they've done this, they then have to go to radicalization, don't they? And it'll say down here, perform the jihad operations. No. After an operation type has been selected, use the ops flowchart to select target countries, and then select randomly, and then it says perform the operation to the maximum extent. If less than 3 were used in target country, continue the operation by returning to the op flowchart. There's nowhere else we could do a minor jihad here and a minor jihad somewhere else and somewhere else if we had 3 targets. We don't. We've only got the 1 minor jihad. It needs to be a Muslim country containing cells and not under Islamist rule. And actually it also needs to be good or fair, doesn't it? Yeah, okay. So basically it comes down to the bottom here eventually. Grant skips reading a lot of things, that's dangerous. If ops remain in no further countries are eligible, proceed to radicalization. So the other two ops are going to come and do this. Yeah, are you comfortable with that, Grant? As comfortable as I'm going to be, I think. Right, so 1 cell being activated, 1 die roll, needs a 1 or a 2. Hoping he's not getting it. I think it's a 4. Good. Okay, so that's a failure. That last cell gets removed. Now, this is a jihad. So there's no cadre left behind. It's a jihad and a travel, no cadres left behind. An event and a disrupt, there is a cadre left behind. If event removes the last cell, or disrupt removes the last cell. So there's no cadres left behind. It's got 2 ops left. So I've marked the dice here. And we're going to start looking at radicalization with these 2 ops. Okay. Right, so radicalization. It's on the flowchart here as well. It's a bit smaller sort of version of it, but I'm not that comfortable. I think what bothers me here, well, I think when the time happens, we'll maybe see it. These are all just bullets. And it says, do this, then, do this, then, do this. So, in the rulebook, if the jihadist bot performs no operation, or an operation using fewer ops than the card's ops value, perform radicalization operations as follows with any remaining ops, using reserves if possible until a total of 3 cells/rules have been used with the card. And I blundered with that. But the card was a 3 ops card, so we're not, if we had reserves, we wouldn't be using the reserves anyway. So it's only got 2 ops to use. Note, never only use reserves, and then note a cell on the map, it can only be used once. If it's already performed, well, the only cell that's performed an action has got returned to the track. So the one that got returned to the track could actually come out again, but anything that's on the map, that's done something, can't do it again, can't do something else or do it again or what. So the first one is, if any cells are in the US and 1 or more WMD plots are available, plot in the US with as many cells as possible. Right, that's not the case. So then, if US posture is hard, it is, and there is no global war and terror relations penalty, there is not, travel to as many unmarked non-Muslim countries as possible, 1 cell each, choosing the origin first, using the travel from priorities of the OP. Then we would move on to the next one. But obviously this one applies. But here's the thing. I've got 2 ops. I mean, there's 5 cells out there on the map. 4 up there, 1 there. So we could travel 2 ops. If the first... we could travel 2 cells. If the first cell travels and creates a global war on terror relations penalty, even if it fails to travel, which is another one that caught me out, do I then come back with the other ops and move on, or do I carry this out? I think I maybe asked this already though, didn't I? I feel like right now, if US posture is hard, it is, and there's no global war relations penalty, there is not. Travel to as many unmarked non-Muslim countries as possible, 1 cell each. So right now, do we use the 2 ops to do this, no matter what happens with the first one? Because if the first one then creates a penalty, I'm not sure if I should do the second one. I do think I asked this question. Yeah, I think I'm not comfortable with that. Well, we could start it off, and you know what? If the first cell travelled and didn't create a penalty, you would get out of this and be able to leave your question in the video. I don't think it's enough leaving it in the video, to be honest, because I find that a little confusing. I think I spoke, this is one of the things I mentioned at the time, the fact that these are all just bulleted, and you know, you do this, then you do this, then. But I mean, I could have 3 ops right now, potentially. Could you? I suppose you maybe could. And you know, do I travel 3 cells? Or do I travel the first cell, then find out if there's a penalty? And if there's not a penalty, travel the second cell? And then if there is a penalty and I've still got 1 up left, do I move down? Or do I still have I set this in stone that I do that with all 3 cells? I sort of feel like you should move to the next one. If this now... I think that's what I'd done, wasn't it? I think I used my first ops point to travel a cell, it created a penalty, and then I moved down to the next one. this one didn't apply, and then I moved down to the next one. I think that's what I've done. Don't think anybody pulled me up for that as well. So will we go with that? I suppose it's just when it says travel to as many unmarked non-Muslim countries as possible, 1 cell each. Choosing the origin first using the travel from priorities of the Op-P. But you could just easily find what using 1 cell, using 1 op, get the travel from, get the travel to, do the dyro for the posture, no penalty, there is a penalty, and then say, right, I've got 1 ops left now, this doesn't apply, let's move on to the next one. That sounds right. I'm not sure if it is right, but it sounds right. Right, well, let's start the procedure and see where we get to. And if we get lucky, we might just be able to use the 2 ops for the travel, if we get lucky. Because if there doesn't turn out to be a penalty, which would mean we would get a country that was hard rather than soft, and it goes that way, then we know we can carry out the second ops to try and mess with us again, you know? Okay, so we're looking for... we're going to travel to unmarked non-Muslim countries, choosing the origin first, using the travel from priorities of the Op-P. So here's the travel from. Now the Op-P is the only word here that can tell me that it's here, right? Because travel from priorities, you could start looking here. Travel from priorities. The word table here, it's, it's... I don't know, I mean, clearly when they design these things they're not an issue to them, but they are to me. I don't know, and I don't know if it's just me. It could be, I say this a bit, but... Anyway, the fact that the word is Op-P there, I'm looking here. So I'm looking for travel from here, and it's down here. So I'm going to do this first, then go to the table. So, travel from adjacent. Yeah, okay. We've done this before, and that's where we went. So we've got 2 countries that have got cells. Do they have an adjacent non-Muslim country that's not been tested yet, not been marked? Yeah, Philippines has Thailand. And actually, Philippines connects to United States, right? But United States is marked, it's tested, it's hard. So it's not why I go there. So there's a potential travel from Philippines to Thailand. However, there's also a potential travel from Central Asia to China. Now, Iran doesn't count, remember, it's a special case. But China is a non-Muslim country, it's not marked. Caucasus is a non-Muslim country, not marked. And Russia is a non-Muslim country, not marked. And I want to say Russia's quite high up the list, I think. So, we've got some options, yeah, where we're going to travel from. So it could be Central Asia, who's got 3 different options, or it could be the Philippines. But I suppose what we're looking at now is not where they're travelling to, we're looking at the priority travel from. So, yeah. So we've got adjacent. Can we move on further? Do we do this? Hang on. Do we do this? Do we stop here and start looking down the priorities table? Yeah, we do, don't we? No, you don't. Right now, if you're looking at recruit and travel 2, you'd be looking at that, and if there was more than 1, you'd then be looking at that, and if there was more than 1, or if it didn't apply, you'd... Oh, I'm getting myself concerned that I'm not doing this right. think we stop here and move down to the table, don't we? Travel from adjacent country. Yes, Grant, that's what you do. That's what you do. Yeah. And just the same as if you got here, you don't say there's more than one, you move to there. You don't. You say, right, we've got that, there's more than one. We're not moving into this next box, we're going down here to the priorities tables. Right, so we've got adjacent. Travel from. So we're going down here. And we're looking for Central Asia or Philippines. Right? Not destination. That's if you're travelling within your country, I think, right? Islamist rule, no. Poor then fair then good. Poor then fair. So poor is first. So it's going to travel from Central Asia. Does that make sense? I don't know. I don't know why that's a priority before some of the other things. The next one that would apply is travel from the most active cells. There's no active cells. Not regime change. Lowest rec. To be honest, we wouldn't. Lowest rec. Well, that does have a rec, but I don't know. I don't know if we would find anything else there. Okay, so I'm going to go that it's wanting to travel from poor then fair then good. So it's going to travel from Central Asia. And again, is this still just the one cell that we're looking at and the one ops point? I don't know. See, here's the thing. We already just said here in the previous part, right, that when we were looking for, after an operation type has been selected, I know we're doing a different thing now, we're doing the radicalization, so maybe it is different. But after an operation has been selected, we use the flow charts, that's then set in, the operation's set in. But then radicalization changes that up a bit and says, do this, then do this, then do this, then. And it's lots of different operations, so I don't know. I'm pretty sure I've done it this way and nobody said, no, you shouldn't have done it that way. Because I'm sure at one point I used 1 point and then we got a global war and terror relations penalty and then I says, right, I've still got 1 point of radicalization left. I can't do that anymore because there's no penalty and I moved down. And I don't think anybody challenged me on that. I'm going to stick with that for now, but I'm kind of hoping that the die rolls are going to avoid that problem. Right, so we're going to travel from poor then fair then good. So we're going to travel from Central Asia. So where are we going to travel to? Well, we know it's got to be China, Caucasus or Russia, right? Because, right, here's another thing bothering me that Jean had brought up, that when we were selecting a travel from country, and we had more than one ops and more than one cell to travel, and if there was only one country adjacent, it would travel to that automatically. Then it would use the next cell to travel to another country that might not be adjacent to it. Well, it sort of sounds a bit complicated. I wish that wasn't the case, and I think it's something that can catch you out, and I think I never even thought about it. I think we're okay in this case because we've got 3 countries that are adjacent, but let's say Caucasus and Russia were marked right now, and we've got China, and we've selected to travel from Central Asia. We've got 1 automatic travel to China. We've got 1 ops left and 1 cell. Now, again, I'm not sure if once I checked this, if it gave the penalty, I then reset everything and I go back to radicalization and I say, right, we now have a global war on terror penalty, so let's move on to the next step. I don't know if that's the case, or let's just say we don't get the penalty and this goes hard. Do we still travel the other cell from Central Asia to a non-adjacent country, with bearing in mind that we've got Philippines adjacent to Thailand here? That's how I feel it was getting told to me. Yeah, and things like that just make things a little complicated. They maybe need to be complicated that way to get the best out of what the bots want to do, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I get the feeling this is maybe a place I might want to just put the brakes on and get a couple of questions out there, and even if I'm only getting replies from the guys that have been following along with my playthrough, because they're the ones that are going to comment on the video and say, that's not right, or I don't think that's right, or that should be that. So why not ask the questions first? Don't know. They might not have the answers, but okay. So I think I might just stop here. We've got 2 ops of radicalization left. We used the 1 ops to do. What did it do? Oh yeah, tried a minor jihad in Afghanistan, failed, went back to the track. Still 2 ops left. I'm going to have to put the questions out there though. Just first of all about the radicalization steps. We've got 2 ops. I don't need to go through it again. I go over these things so much, don't I? So that's the first question. Then the second question is, if I'm travelling from Central Asia, there's only 1 adjacent country that's not been marked. Do I still travel the 2 cells from Central Asia? Or do I consider the one that's in the Philippines? I want to say I'm going to get told that they're going to both travel from Central Asia, because that's what was told to me the last time. That it's sort of, once you've got your country to travel from. Now, don't get me wrong, if there was only 1 cell in there, then I think it would then look for the other travel from. All these things are a bit tricky, eh? They're all a bit, yeah. Alright, okay, sorry for the dogs barking, I don't know what's going on. Well, so much for ending the turn then, so I'm not going to get there. I've got the 48 minutes, the last 10 or 15 minutes I've been just trying to work out here what I'm going to do. But I think what I'm going to do is actually go over to my computer and start typing out a couple of questions regarding this situation. I don't want to start making major blunders, but I'm not finding this. I'm not sure about this. There's 2 or 3 questions in there that I want to ask. So hopefully I can put them down and make them sound like, well, make it clear what I'm trying to ask, and we'll see. Yeah, I better leave that, and it's unlikely I'm going to come back just now today, and it'll be tomorrow before I get the chance again, if I do get the chance tomorrow. But at least I might have, if I can get the questions out there, I might get the answers to them and feel more comfortable about what I'm doing. Okay. Well, a bit of a bummer leaving it at just that. I thought I was going to get this turn finished, but yeah, let's just be a bit more sure about things and ask somebody else's advice, I think, with us, rather than, yeah. Okay. Hopefully we'll be back tomorrow, and hopefully we'll clear it all up and everything will go nice and sweet. Okay, cheers.